Hello to my future RNs. This is Dr. Emma. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to focus on 10 strategies to help you through nursing school. How many of you that are watching this video right now are thinking about getting into a nursing program? Or perhaps some of you are already in a nursing program. Today we're going to focus on 10 strategies that can help make your journey much more meaningful. Stay tuned. So welcome back. Let's get started. Strategy number 1, create a network of student support. What does that mean? So that's something that really is individual to you. Align yourself with other students, other colleague students, whether it be within your program or across other programs or similar programs that are going through the same content, going through the same areas. And create a support structure in which you can reach out to them when you need that boost, where they can reach out to you and they understand what you're going through, right? Because it's so difficult sometimes to go back to our family and friends and say, hey, it was just really rough today. I had to do X, Y, Z. I have care plans. Do I have this, do that, do? Often people don't know how to respond to that. But another student that's in your shoes will often be there and be able to provide the support that you need. Strategy number 2, create a check and balance system. Well, what does that mean? Within that support that we talked about in strategy number 1, create a way in which you all remind one another of important dates, of important times, of important events within the program. So for example, if you have 3 papers due on the final week of the final exam week as well, then maybe you each figure out a way that you put ticklers in your electronic devices and contact one another a day or 2 before the assignments are due to make sure that those assignments are running on time and that everyone is on track with submitting and meeting those deadlines. This also works with keeping people motivated and encouraged to move through a particularly rigorous time in the program. Strategy number 3, see one, do one, teach one. So what does that mean? Some of you may have heard that before. So it's see one, do one, teach one. What we know and what evidence has shown us is we learn more when we apply what we've read, what we've seen, what we've experienced, and put our hands to it. And then when we teach it, we actually get to the next level of learning, which is synthesis. So I have to synthesize information before I can teach it. So see one, do one, teach one is a great motto and a great methodology and a strategy to help you through, especially some of those difficult components. For me, it was critical care and cardiovascular. So I remember, and this was quite a few years ago, I remember learning about ventilators, and so I learned it. Then I was able to go into an environment and work with ventilators, and then I was able to bring in my student peers and teach them about it. And that's how I was able to overcome something that presented a very daunting challenge to me in my nursing program. So see one, do one, teach one. That's strategy number 3. Strategy number 4 is going to sound a little simple, but it's kind of difficult. So pay attention. Strategy number 4 is schedule time for life. Well, what does that mean? That means nursing school is just a part of your day. It's just a part of your week, a part of your year. You're still a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a significant other, a family member. You're still all those things, and all those facets of who you are still going to require attention. The most successful nursing students are the ones that can effectively manage those personal expectations in a way that allows for them to still continue with the rigor of their program. So what does that mean? It's as simple as getting a calendar together, and that calendar, putting on that calendar so that everyone sees it at the house. Okay, so on Monday, I'm doing this for my nursing program, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for me. And getting everyone on the same page that those scheduled events, those time frames are important for everyone in the family, everyone in the community in which you participate, to honor, because it is going to ultimately make you more successful and support you in a different way. Strategy number 5, be proactive, not reactive. In my tenure in nursing academia, I have seen so much reactivity. We wait until something falls through or doesn't go the way we want it to before we act and change our way of doing something. Many times that's too late. In addition to it sometimes being too late, it also places an additional layer of anxiety and stress into pushing you to do something different, perhaps even before you're ready, and maybe hastily doing something different that isn't going to change the outcome. So be proactive. What does that mean? That means going back to that support group that we talked about in strategy number 1. And within that support group, saying, okay, what are the things in this program that are essential? What are the things that I have to proactively engage in to ensure my success or leverage my success? And that might be committing to weekly study groups. That might be committing to weekly practice exams that you're doing. Whatever it is, take a proactive approach. When something doesn't make sense, you immediately go to your faculty member and say, I need your help to understand this better. Okay? It's not about blaming the faculty because I didn't learn something. The onus is on me to learn it. The onus is on me to go to the faculty member and say, you know what, I really need your help to better understand this because I really want to understand it. So be proactive, not reactive. Strategy number 6, don't personalize the academic experience. And I think this goes hand in hand with number 5. So again, so many times in my years as an academician, it is, oh, I'm not passing this class because the faculty hates me. Or they purposely made this exam so hard so I couldn't pass it. I'm here to have a spoiler alert moment for you. We do not sit up day in and day out to try to figure out ways to confuse you. We don't. In fact, to think that's a little narcissistic. So, let's look at the reality of it. Often it's a lot easier to blame the external person than to take a look inward, because we want to be careful. It is often, again, our responsibility and something that fell through on our end that created the situation we're in. So let's fix it. Let's address it and let's fix it. Okay? But let's not personalize it. Strategy number 7, be honest with yourself. And that goes hand in hand with number 5 and 6. You have to be honest with yourself. There are so many of us that want so many things, right? I recall I had these fantasies of what I wanted to be in nursing and all those things. And the reality of what I was wanting to the reality of what I was able to do didn't always match. So what does that mean? That means really you're going to have to know who you are, and what you're capable of. If you want something badly enough and you're willing to put the work into it, it's there. But if I'm not putting the work into it and I'm trying to circumvent the process and I'm trying to go around the process, then am I really, really the best fit for that program? And sometimes that's a really, really hard thing to think about, because as students, we tend to measure ourselves against our peers and say, well, if Susie can do it, why can't I do it? If Susie can get an A, why can't I get an A? But think about it. Your journey is individual to you. So grading it, judging it against someone else's journey makes no sense. Strategy number 8, know your learning style. There are many learning style little quick tests that you can do, little screens that you could do online for free. But essentially, it's really what helps you learn the best, right? For me, I can tell you, I am a person that can read it, and unless I see it, hear it, and then do it with my hands, I don't remember it. So for me, everything that I've done and continue to do as a student and as a professional, I will read the information to have the background, but then I have to figure out a way to visualize and to apply in order for me to retain the information at a significant level to me. So is that you as well? Or perhaps you're very lucky and you can read it and you have a photographic memory and you can read it and it sticks with you. Well, that's great. Get to know your learning styles. Get to know the learning styles of your student support network, because that works out great when you're studying. Because if you're someone that can instantly memorize something and you're working with someone who can visualize or needs visualization and someone who needs auditory, then you put those three pieces together and everyone learns and retains at a deeper level. Strategy number 9, know your optimal learning time. Well, what does that mean? Well, some of us are morning people, some of us are evening, and some of us are night people. And it's always interesting to me because I will run across students and even colleagues in practice, and you'll see them in the morning and they're barely awake and they're dragging and so on and so forth. And they're, oh, I'm not a morning person. I can't. I'm not awake until 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay. So then why are you working a 7 a.m. shift? Why are you in school at a school that requires you to be there at 7 in the morning? Find a program that works in the afternoon. Find a program that works in the weekends. What is your optimal time? Okay? And what is your optimal time to study? If you are a morning person, then study in the morning. If you're an evening person, do not attempt to study in the morning, because what's going to happen? It's going to take you a while to get there, and what you retain is going to be minimal compared to what you can retain when you're at your optimal time. So that optimal time piece works at multiple levels, not just for studying, but also for planning what school you're going to get into and what program might work for you. And strategy number 10, and this is a tough one because we are humans and we are social by nature. Avoid the negative noise. What does that mean? There are always going to be, and especially in today's world with social media, with people being able, at their fingertips, be able to reach hundreds and thousands of people with their opinions. There are always going to be people that have opinions about your program, about what you're doing, about what you're experiencing. And that negative noise does take a toll on you as a student. And it may not take a toll on you when you first hear it, because perhaps that day you're in a good place. But then further down the line, maybe you have a day where you're a little low, you're a little down on your student experience, and then those words, that negativity comes back, and it's very pervasive. It'll take over your spirit, it'll take over your experience, and all of a sudden your experience becomes somebody else's experience, because you're living through their negative view. And it's difficult. It's difficult sometimes to cut that noise out. But what I find to be very effective, and I share with my students all the time, is feel free to say to someone, I can't have that conversation right now. I'm not at a place where I can hear that. And that just kind of removes you from really, not being rude or anything like that, but just kind of letting them know that you have a limit. Also, in its most basic sense, if you are faced with someone who's consistently negative about the experience that you are currently going through, separate yourself from them. It's not worth you taking on their negativity into your journey. So remember, avoid the negative noise. So we've just reviewed 10 survival strategies for nursing students. I hope that this was beneficial. And if not all of it, some of it. If nothing else, I hope it's opened up your mind to start thinking about some other things that can help you on your journey. And perhaps for those of you that are looking to get into nursing, help you better prepare to select the appropriate program for you. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to like us and subscribe. Bye-bye.